Hey, this is American Lonsdale fan, and I recently purchased the Body Action System that you see behind me. Uh, Obviously named after BAS. It's been on the market for well over 10 years, and I just wanted to give my own little take on it, if you will. Quick explanation. Years and years ago, or I should say 4 years, I used to have my own personal gym that I usually built inside my garage or any kind of space that I had on the different properties that I lived in. They always included a heavy bag, speed bag platform, double end bag, usually my own little about 30 to 40 pound smaller bag, usually filled with barley corn, soft center, and that was for toughening up my knuckles. Point being, all the things that you would see inside of a typical boxing gym. And nothing, in my opinion, replaces that. Having multiple bags, multiple things to work out in. But in the last couple years, my wife and I have, I'll keep it short and simple, we moved into a property where she caretakes for the property owners. I caretake for the property itself. We'll leave it at that. Needless to say, the space that I live in is not entirely my own to start drilling holes in walls and things like that. So I didn't have the option of building another gym, boxing gym. So, and another thing is, I didn't actually pay for this. The department I work for has a health and wellness program where certain fitness equipment qualifies to be reimbursed for. So I bought this on the online store, and then I was compensated by the department I work for. I'm at about $550 with shipping and everything. It's a very expensive piece of equipment, and it doesn't replace a full boxing gym with at least 5 different sets of striking pads and so forth, but it's pretty close. Number one thing that you have to realize is that this is not a freestanding heavy bag. It is a freestanding pad holder. So imagine working with a training partner who's holding up the pads, and he or she is giving you the combos and so forth. That's really what it replaces. It doesn't replace a heavy bag. So I'll get right down to it, and rather than just video me hitting it and giving my take on it, I wanted to kind of give you dimensions, little things to consider before you actually purchase this, if you're looking to.
Let's go over the floor space that you would need just to have it sit in wherever you want to place this. Okay, so if you go by the width or the depth of the base, you're looking at it's about 4 feet from the end of the base to about the front. Keep in mind, you're going to have to count for the body pad, which sticks out the most. So you're looking at about roughly, just showing you right there, at 4 feet. So you're going to need at least 4 feet of depth in order to place it in wherever you want to put the body action system. And as far as the width goes, you're going to need about 5 feet. Okay, from one end of the leg to the other is about 5 feet, believe it or not. So when you're looking at the amount of space you're going to need, minimal, and when I say minimal, I'm talking about using it as strictly a boxing workout, a lot of inside work, body shots, hooks. In terms of the floor space, you're going to need 5 feet by minimally, say about 6. So about 5 by 6. Let's say 6 by 6 just to be safe. All right. Now, technically, that's not that much. Okay, just to give you an example, this is the corner of my garage, the garage I'm using. That's my workbench. Got my a couple of gun locks behind it. Obviously I parked my vehicle in here. So it's just one quadrant of the garage, and this is enough space. If I were to use it in terms of Taekwondo, where where I need a lot of shuffling in and out and a lot of kick space for it, I'm probably looking at having it 5 feet by at least about, say, 8 feet. Still, once again, that's not that much. That fills up 1/6 of the garage, actually a little less than that. So it does allow for that. In comparison to a heavy bag, if I were to use a heavy bag, of course the heavy bag would have to be here. It can't be against or too close to the wall. And of course I'd have to hang it. And keep in mind, as much as it's going to swing, I would need to put it in the centerpiece. So just giving you dimensions once again, in terms of just the floor space that it takes up, it's about 5 feet by about, give or take, about, say about, to be safe, say about 4 feet. So 5 by 4 feet just to place the equipment where you want to. And then of course, in terms of the room you would at least need, to be safe, 6 by 6, and probably optimal would be 6 by 9. Okay, next part is, let's talk a little bit about these pads themselves. These are of course vinyl. Yeah, we would have preferred leather, but let's be honest, that would have brought up the price point. Vinyl works pretty well. It is durable. The stitching seems to be pretty good, and of course every pad has got a spring on it, coil spring that allows it to move and absorb some of that shock. Real quick about the sandbags. If you are somebody who's going to hit this thing hard, you will want to get heavier sandbags, or more sandbags I should say. It comes with 6, which unless you're just going to lightly punch it, it will move around. Not horribly, and nothing that's unsafe. But the only problem is buying 6 more bags is about 50 bucks. And I went ahead and got these canopy bags for 15 bucks on Amazon with shipping. So I've attached one here, and then there's 2 of them underneath that I can actually attach to the legs. I've got more if I need them, and then I just take the sandbags that it came with and just sturdy it to the place. What is nice is there'd be a million different ways that you could mount these or secure these to the floor, and it wouldn't be a bother. I like it that they didn't rely on a plastic base that you fill with water, because those just drive me nuts. Anyway, the last part I'm going to talk about is adjusting it. All of the joints and stuff come with these clamp joints, and they work pretty well. You will have to check them from time to time if you're hitting them with any authority. They can come, I wouldn't say loose, they just, the clamps themselves can start to do this sometimes from the vibration. So you just have to double check, make sure they're down and in place. And it'd be good to check them from time to time anyway. Now, part of the selling point about this thing is that it can collapse and fold up into a small space. So let me show you. Okay, so these are a couple of the boxes that the thing came with. So you can see there'd be no problem collapsing it down and having a really small space to keep it. But the practical point is, would you take this apart for every workout? No, you wouldn't. It's gonna take you, in order to completely collapse this thing down and store it correctly, it's gonna at least take you about 5 minutes total. Probably more, in just terms of putting the sandbags away, putting everything in its place, folding everything down. All these arms come with these pads. These are safety pads. My guess would be is the attorney who works for the Body Action System said, hey, wait a minute, you can't have this exposed metal. You know, all it's going to take is somebody missing, an amateur missing it and breaking their knuckle, and then you get sued. So in terms of taking all this stuff off, pulling off every arm, collapsing the stand down, putting the sandbags away, it's going to take you not a lot of time, but you know, about 5, maybe 10 minutes to put it away. You're just not going to do that practically. So the idea is you're probably going to keep it up, put it up, and keep it up. And given the fact that it doesn't need much room, that's a plus. But having said that, it is a plus if you ever needed to collapse it down. It's nice to know that you can. You know, things like the freestanding heavy bags, I mean, the most you can do is shove them in a corner, but they don't go anywhere. This could actually collapse down into a really small split space if for some reason you needed it. One last thing I'm going to say is, and this is kind of hard to demonstrate, this is for people who know what they're doing. All the targets, but in particular the head, it's going to be very easy to just kind of wail at it. Remember, this is not a freestanding heavy bag, it's a freestanding pad holder. And the thing with a heavy bag is, because there's so much resistance, usually once you just kind of wail on it and nothing happens, it reminds you to, oh yeah, pivot on the balls of your feet, turn your waist, commit your weight to the punch, drive into it. If you're working with a pad holder, obviously you're going to be working with your coach or your training partner, and he or she's going to be telling you, hey, put a little more oomph into it, turn your body. Here you're alone, and it's going to be real easy to just kind of do these arm punches. All right. You have to discipline yourself to remember to drive the punch through, recoil it, and everything else. Just something to think about. As far as needing gloves or not, if you know what you're doing, if you've got the wrist strength and the, you know, proper hand conditioning, no, you will not need this. This thing will not hurt anybody's knuckles. However, having said that, I could see somebody who is absolutely beginner, who doesn't know about keeping the wrist straight with your punch. It could be really easy just to kind of wail around, and you know, with all these punches end up pulling your wrist. So if you're an absolute beginner, use gloves, particularly like MMA gloves that have kind of a wrist support to keep your wrist straight.
Hey, so I hope you enjoyed the video, and hope it gave you some things to think about. In a nutshell, once again, it is a great tool if you are an absolute beginner and money is no object. It's a great tool if you want to add this and money is no object. If you're a pro and you've already got heavy bags and so forth, and you want to add this to your equipment, it's pretty good too. As a standalone, it's not bad, but like I said, it doesn't replace a real boxing gym. Just my take on it. Anyway, something to think about. Hope you enjoyed the video. Click like and subscribe. God bless you and those you love.